presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
The Cardinals' first homestand of the season was a rousing success as the Redbirds won 4 of 6. With an exciting mixture of young and old, the Cardinals are out to prove last year was just no accident. Now they take their aggressive style on the road as Lance Lynn, the big righty, tries to move to 3-0 in Pittsburgh. It's next on Fox Sports Midwest.
It's one of the most scenic views in all of baseball, the view of downtown Pittsburgh from inside PNC Park. It's the home of the Pirates, and tonight they'll take on the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. With Jim Hayes, Al Hrabowski, my partner tonight, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. Cardinals off to a great start, good pitching, very good offense. But then, Al, on the other side, looking at Pittsburgh, it was a struggle last year offensively, and again this year too.
Most definitely. Not only are the Pirates having trouble scoring runs, they're having trouble even getting on base, while the St. Louis Cardinals are either at the top or second in just about every offensive category.
Looking forward to this one. Game 1 of a 6-game road trip for St. Louis on the banks of the Allegheny. Birds, Buccos next.
PNC is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting, designated driver. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. We should have a beautiful night for baseball, but the weather is going to get very cold this weekend. They're even talking about maybe sleet and snow here in Pittsburgh on Sunday night when we get out of town and head to Chicago, as we'll begin our 6-game road trip this evening. And Lance Lynn looks to continue his winning ways, and the Cardinals try to go to 10 wins and 4 losses. There's a look at Mike Matheny, and Jim Joyce is the home plate umpire. We'll talk more about him in our telecast tonight. And a longtime veteran of the coaching staff, Jeff Bannister, there, bringing out the lineup card for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But Al, what a start here for Mike and his crew in 2012.
I don't think you could probably script it any better. They played very well on the road. They played well in their 4-2 homestand. A lot of offense, great starting pitching. The bullpen has been solid. Defense has been solid. So there is no reason why this club cannot repeat, and that would be something. I think the guys are almost playing a little chip on their shoulder, trying to prove to the baseball world that they can do it without Tony, Dave Duncan, and Albert Pujols.
Let's take a look at Mike Matheny's lineup, and the Cardinals lead the National League as a team with a .293 average. Switch hitting, Rafael Furcal. Then Matt Carpenter moves in the second spot. Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran. David Freese, your third baseman this evening. Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, activated from the DL. And Lance Berkman is now on the disabled list. Daniel Descalso gets the start, and he'll be at second base. Lance Lynn, the big righty, 2 for 5 in his career, and he will face Charlie Morton, the right-hander for the Pirates.
28-year-old right-hander, his second start of the season. He started on the disabled list. He had hip surgery in the offseason. He had a torn labrum. One of the reasons why he got off to a good start last season, but then struggled in the second half as well as his team did. And we'll kind of look at this guy who kind of reinvented himself, a clone of Roy Halladay last year. And I remember that first game of the year he pitched against the Cardinals in St. Louis, and he has a better record on the road than he does at home. He walked 5 in that game. We saw this really dominant sinker, but he should have walked about 15, as a lot of right-handed batters swung a lot of pitches in on their hands.
So switch hitter Rafael Furcal leads it off. Many of the Cardinals tonight have good numbers, including Skip Schumacher, who is in that lineup, 10 for 23 against Charlie Morton. And it's a slim down Rafael Furcal as he rips it foul, and we're underway here in Pittsburgh. And we saw that Furcal got off to a terrible start in spring, and he may be a little shook up as he's walking around the batter's box, but he's dropped weight, and Jose Oquendo saying that slowly but surely he's getting into playing shape and will be a force at the top of this lineup.
Well, you're right. He had the January appendectomy surgery, kind of messed with his routine of getting prepared for the season. A little overweight at that time, got off to a slow start, but boy, he's picked it up. 20 hits already. He's had 4 3-hit games, and he's off to a remarkable start.
It'll be interesting to see how Mike Matheny, with a fragile team at times, when you think about the age of this Cardinals squad of 2012, but it'd be interesting to see how he spots a guy like Rafael Furcal. Furcal is now 34 years of age, the 2-time All-Star.
Well, right now I know they want to play these guys as much as possible, but that is the juggling act that Mike has to deal with. And so far so good. He's really done a good job giving guys rest.
And it's a swing and a miss as Furcal strikes out to start the game. The defense for Pittsburgh tonight presented by Dobbs. Presley, McCutcheon, Tabata is in right. Pedro Alvarez struggling at the plate. He's your third baseman. Barmes, the former Rocky and Astro at short. Walker Jones on the right side. Rod Barajas, he's been around a long time, is behind the plate. And that's a look at your defense for Pittsburgh. Ball taken low by Matt Carpenter, and you would figure that Matt would get the majority of the playing time as you get a look at Clint Hurdle at first base in the spot of Lance Berkman.
It's off to a good start, so why not? A couple days ago, he was batting .409 with 11 RBIs, and he was up amongst the league leaders. Average has dropped down a little bit, but still has those big 11 RBIs to give him confidence.
A 2-0 pitch to Matt Carpenter. Hit out of play and foul. It will be a sparse crowd tonight here in Pittsburgh. Just across the way, they've got hockey going on, and this is a football crazed state and city, and hockey as well. So Sidney Crosby and the Penguins down 3-1, trying to stave off elimination tonight at home. And many of the TV sets and folks are at home or either at the rink.
Well, speaking of hockey, congratulations to the Blues on their win last night. I stayed up and watched the whole thing. Many of the Cardinals did too.
And that's taken high, and it's a one-out walk to Carpenter.
That's the one thing about Morton is you have to be very patient. You don't want to be overly aggressive with him because he has trouble with the walks. He'll keep the ball in the ballpark. A rare, last year when he gave up 6 home runs, 5 of them to left-handed batters, but Holiday does, it wasn't last year, but he does have a rare home run by a right-handed batter against Morton.
You struck out twice against him, 4 for 12. And this season, off to a slow start, but you can see he's almost there. This could be a double play ball. Barma steps on the bag. Nifty footwork up the middle. It's a double play. Clint Barmas to his left. Nicely done. The Cardinals and Pirates, first time in 2012. Alex Presley, Tabata, and McCutcheon here in the first, followed by Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native, then Jones, Barajas, Alvarez, Barmas, and Morton. Some rough averages in this lineup for Clint Hurdle, and they'll face what has been a tough righty so far, and that's Lance Lynn.
Well, 2 starts, 2-0 record, 1.50 ERA. See the 13 strikeouts, 3 walks. Very confident Lance Lynn on the mound. And not only is he confident, but his manager, coaching staff, all the players, his teammates have a lot of confidence in his ability.
He says he's just filling that spot right now in the rotation until Carpenter gets back, and Holiday, Schumacher, and Beltran are in the outfield. Freeze for Kyle Descalzo. That's brought to you by Dobbs. So Mike Matheny's club is off to a good start with a record of 9-4.
Well, they've got some great starting pitching. You take, it's hard to say, take Wainwright's numbers out of there and where they'd be, but it would be a 1.55 ERA for the other 4 starters. And Wainwright is going to get it straightened out. I was looking at some of the other guys that had Tommy John that had good success afterwards. Most of those guys were 19 months after recovery, and Adam is just still at 13 months.
So the left fielder, Alex Presley, they have a young outfield here in Pittsburgh. They feel that they do have some prospects coming up. That's drilled into deep center field. Schumacher back, off his glove, off the wall. Skip, slow to get up. Presley on his way to third. Presley on his way home. He will score inside the park home run to start the game for Pittsburgh.
And look at Schumacher still not recovered with a collision from the mound. So they're going to go out and attend to Skip. Your first game back, and rushed back out of necessity, and he collides with the wall, and this doesn't look good. John Jay is a lot better today, but probably nowhere near recovery.
Yeah, and Al, talking with Skip before the game, he has played just 7 innings of outfield, and that was 2 nights ago. He did play center field at Memphis. Last night, it was 9 innings at second base. And I asked him exactly about this type of ball during batting practice. I said, is it really that hard for you to get your timing back? And he said, absolutely. He said, you know, I've got to go out there during BP and judge some of the baseballs off the bats and just get used to it again, get back in the outfield. And we know that he can be a above average defender in the outfield.
Well, no doubt about it. And you talk about it, yesterday was the only game he did play a full game, 9 innings. And think about running into the fence like that. You know, you're coming back on an oblique muscle strain. That puts a big strain on that part of the body also.
He said that this year, the oblique injury that he has suffered is actually worse than it was last year, but has not had any ill effects of throwing and also swinging the bat. And he says that he's all right, but really no need to risk it when you have John Jay and now a banged up Skip Schumacher this early in the season.
He says he's okay, but you know, those walls are padded, but I wouldn't recommend trying to run into them just to find out how much padding there is. So he looks like he's coming out.
Yeah, Komatsu now is left the dugout and will replace Skip Schumacher. So Skip right back into action and right back in the dugout hurt. Not good news there, and Komatsu coming out.
Only the second inside the park home run at this ballpark. Jack Wilson hit the other one, but all Cardinal fans are holding their breath, hoping that Skip is just he looks okay, but that's easy for us to say from here.
So it's an inside the park home run for Alex Presley, his first, and he picks up RBI number 4 on the young season. That's a bat that has had tremendous success against Charlie Morton. That's out of this lineup. And by the way, that was Lance Lynn's Ole Miss teammate that just picked up the inside the ballpark home run, Alex Presley.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts.
Former teammate getting you like that?
Skip will go down and get a little attention, get a little ice or whatever they need. But right now, looked like the ball was down. I've seen a lot of home runs hit in this ballpark.
So the last inside the ballpark home run for the Pirates was Freddie Sanchez back in 2008. That's tapped foul. Jack Wilson also had one against Milwaukee. And this is Tabata, the right fielder. They've locked him up. Long-term extension this offseason. The 0-2 by Lynn.
By the way, that was only the 7th home run by the Pirates this season. Coming in, Beltran had 1 fewer than the Pirates team.
Just missed on the inside corner.
19 consecutive years of losing baseball. But we found out how they're going to cure it.
Enlighten me.
They fired their trainers and their strength and conditioning coach.
So that's how you do it, huh?
Oh, yeah, it must be. 4 years ago, they thought it was the equipment manager. And then they found out it wasn't him, but it was the training staff. Heaven forbid, look at the players.
You have one of the most respected umpires in all of baseball behind the plate in Jim Joyce. There's a base hit into right. Tabata is aboard. The reason you bring up Jim Joyce is because it was just hours after his botched call at first base. He was at home plate for Armando Galarraga. Cost him a perfect game. There's your Fox Tracks brought to you by Chevy.
Good pitch down and away, a little better hitting. That was probably had to be the most embarrassing moment for Jim Joyce's illustrious career.
He said his family had been targeted after that. Death threats.
Well, that's ridiculous. And Galarraga, who handled that perfectly.
And he forgave Joyce immediately. Backhanded, knocked down. Will they get the lead man? Yes. Out at second, Tabata.
Ralphie hung with it. I asked about this playing surface. They said the dirt is fine. They took a tricky hop there, but they said the infield is a lot slower than the average major league. Ralphie kind of stayed with it and got the ball over to Scalzo, got the lead man. So the double play is still in order.
There is no expanded replay this year in Major League Baseball. There was talk at looking at trap balls or fair or foul down the lines. Did you get a look at the numbers for Neil Walker? Replay started in August of 2008. And that was for potential home run balls as the Cardinals pitch out and undoing with a speedy McCutchen at first.
Walker is a switch hitter. They say a little bit like Holiday has really been hitting the tough luck, but it's starting to come out of it of late. Just batting 172 from the left side.
One of the problems right now for Major League Baseball, if they did expand replay, they're not sure exactly how they do it because certain ballparks have better vantage points for cameras. Not every game is on television. This could be a double play ball. Out at second. Hesitation, but still. Burkal quickly enough to get it out of the glove. Struggled with it, but Cardinals turn 2, 4, 6, 3. Bucks, and he picks up an inside the park home run. Here's Carlos Beltran. Takes a strike. We're underway here in the top of the second. First bank, first take. You see what Pittsburgh has done the last 3 seasons. That team ERA has just gotten better and better.
And last season would have been even better than the 4.04 that they ran out a lot of steam in the second half. Charlie Morton was kind of example of that, but a lot of it's because of his hip. He was pitching with a torn left muscle in his hip that required off-season surgery.
They weren't sure if he was going to be even available at the start of the year.
Well, he was on the disabled list at the start.
For the entire first month,
Correct.
rather.
Yeah. And this is only his second start. Dan, you and I both have been real impressed with Carlos Beltran, you know, as a visiting player, but what a nice man he is. And he's loving it here in St. Louis.
He can relax in St. Louis. When he was in New York, had the largest contract in franchise history, huge media market, a lot of expectations. Some really put the undue tag of, you know, failure because of what happened, as Beltran is safe at first. Off the bag is Morton. But because of what happened in Game 7 of 06, frozen by the Wainwright curveball.
Yeah, but he also told me, he said, I wouldn't change any of that experience. He said it became very negative in New York. And he goes, you know, I love it here. See what Charlie Morton did. If he would have just, when he gets this throw, if he would have just put the foot there and then went towards the mound, he'd been fine. But when he tried to re-step on the bag is when it sells the umpire, you missed it.
So it's an E on Charlie Morton, and here's David Freese. David at the cage today telling me that things have finally settled down in his world. You know, he said everywhere you go, people want to, not so much in St. Louis, he said, I appreciate the fans in town, but media everywhere you go wanting to relive Game 6 and talk about last year's postseason. He said, I'm happy to do it, but I'm also happy to kind of move on, turn the page, and look at a healthy 2012.
That's right. He can enjoy all that when his career's over, but now he wants to keep on padding the career.
It's tapped foul. The 28-year-old out of Lafayette High School in St. Louis and the hometown hero.
Since his magic in the postseason, his uniform and jersey is quadrupled in sales. And now he's the 20th most sought after, player in the major leagues.
He said the Corvette for being the MVP of the World Series. Dad's got that. The home run ball, he knows where that is. He said maybe, though, in his mind, the most important ball of any hit that he's ever had in his career was the triple that tied it up when the Cardinals were down to their final strike. And he says, I have no idea where that baseball is. That's up and in.
That's an example of how the run on Charlie Morton's sinking fastball is, you kind of have to let the ball get to you. You've got that late movement. And as I said, in his start last year when he kind of changed to the Roy Halladay delivery, Cardinals, he walked 5 Cardinals, should have been 15.
It's tapped foul again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So the copycat of the Philly starter and one of the best in baseball, Roy Halladay, you're seeing that from Charlie Morton. Reason he did this was to get on top of the ball and get more sink. Let's take a look at Halladay and his delivery and compare it.
Well, many people believe he's the best in the National League, so why not emulate someone? You still have to get the same results, and it was a big improvement.
And what do you see here, Al? Why would you change that delivery? Do you see how he's able to get on top of the ball?
Well, I think what it all has to do with kind of starting the hands at the, at the chest, kind of the timing mechanism to where you get your arm isn't dragging so you can be on top of it. and then you can finish off a pitch and get that late life by finishing off the pitch out in front of you.
And a strikeout of Freeze. He didn't like the call.
Appeared to be quite high, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Second strikeout for Charlie Morton. And it brings in Yadier Molina.
Just because Jim Joyce is so well respected doesn't mean he has to be correct. But there you see what happens a lot of times is an umpire won't give you that pitch when you miss location that badly. That was a backup breaking ball. Supposed to be down and away, kind of as a backup, and you saw the catcher catch the ball right in the middle in.
Replay brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. Here's Yadier Molina. Made his major league debut at this ballpark June 4th of 2004. You get a look at the defense that is straight away for Molina. Off to a good start.
He's off to a very good start, leading all National League catchers, home runs, RBIs. You would think when he took over and played that game, his first major league game, he was subbing for his manager, who, by the way, was a big in his development.
Talking with Yachty before the game, and I said, now this is where you made your major league debut. And Al, his eyes lit up, big smile. He said, oh yeah. He said, I'll never forget it. He said, my brothers were playing on the West Coast at that time and had a chance in the clubhouse of their various teams to take it in as Molina rips it fair. Down into the corner, Beltran on his way to third. They're going to wave him home. Here we go. Oh, it's thrown away. And advancing on the play, Molina all the way to third. About a 10-hopper in as it slipped out of the hand, I would imagine, on the relay. And Yachty picks up the RBI. And that's an error on Clint Barmas. And so the Cardinals get a couple of errors going against the way of the Pirates, and they take advantage.
Well, this ball hit right down in the left field corner. And Presley will get to it, hits the cutoff man, Barmas. Watch Barmas' throw. Right into the grass, about 10 feet away. Beltran will come and circle the bases. He told me he's feeling so much better running-wise right now. And that allowed Yachty to get over to third base. So 2 errors already in this inning.
Here is Eric Komatsu, so he's filling in for Skip Schumacher, the Southern California native. You mentioned the name of Carlos Beltran, and Komatsu said that Beltran has been huge for him this year, and that was almost another error. So double E6 on the play for Molina to score a run. Komatsu grounds out, and here's Descalso.
Pedro Alvarez thought he was going to field that ball, but that allowed the third baseman, so that allows Molina to come down the line to kind of bluff, and maybe it forced that a little bit of an errant throw. I learned something from Jose Oquendo today that was very interesting. Talk about it, about Albert Pujols. All the times he ran through stop signs.
It was planned.
It was, well, what it was he would put up his hands to deke outfielders.
Right.
And he would verbally tell him to stop. If he wanted him to stop, he would say stop. And remember, we saw that Albert did that with the Angels. Next day he called Jose Oquendo and said, because he was trying to institute that with the Angels, the Cardinals running game. Just that little gamesmanship right there.
2 balls and no strikes on Daniel Descalso. Daniel kind enough to join us the other day at the ballpark prior to our first pitch as Michael Hall and his crew of Cardinals Care handed out over $130,000 in grants to kids in the community. So congratulations to Michael and his staff. Daniel came out, said a few words on behalf of the players. And his number one message to many of the kids that are part of Redbird Rookies, the Rookie League for young children, is stay in school, something that Daniel was able to do. It was nice to see him out there.
Kind of asked Mike about his decision who would play second base today, and it came down to ball popped up and hit him in the face. Of course, the Pirates know that with A.J. Burnett, fractured an orbital bone. I think this was maybe more around the mouth or nose. Don't see it often, but you're fooled. You're out in front, and the ball came up and looked like it got him in the mouth.
Rough way to start the trip.
By the way, Skip Schumacher the wind was knocked out of him, and it was Mike Matheny's decision to take him out. This was precautionary, but. And I was going to say, I asked Mike about Scalzo and Tyler Green have kind of been the same players so far. I said, what was the difference in making Descalzo? He said, well, he's 0 for 8 against Charlie Morton, but he's had 3 walks. Morton is also very tough on right-handed batters, and left-handed batters are batting .364 against him, so we wanted to keep that good defense of Descalzo's in there also. And I got him in the nose.
Jim Joyce telling the pitcher, Charlie Morton, if he'd like to throw to stay loose, he could do so, and that's what he's done. Looks like a prize fighter right now.
I feel like one.
Two balls, 2 strikes, a 1-1 game. So we play here in the top of the second. And that's a swing and a miss. Strikeout for Morton. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game. Yachty, though, ties it up. We're midway through 2. Visit the 27th of this month. The Cards take on the Brewers. VIP field visit ticket auction includes 2 diamond box tickets, pregame field visit, and your photo in the dugout. Big right now at cardinals.com/auction. Great giveaways when we return home. So you get a look at Descalso to stop the bleeding. A foul tip that knocked him in the face. Cardinals will have the giveaway of a T-shirt, World Championship cap, and also the replica trophy that weekend against Milwaukee. Here's Garrett Jones. Hitting .269, 2 home runs. He's driven in 4, the first baseman for Pittsburgh. A fastball and a strike. Lance Lynn was just so valuable down the stretch last year. When I say down the stretch, I mean postseason play. And Jones hits a high towering drive right center. Komatsu runs it down. That's a heck of a play by Komatsu.
Nice play for a young man that never played above Double-A baseball. The Rule 5 selection for the Cardinals, so he jumps all the way to the big leagues, and he tracks this one down and in. Left-hand hitters like to get that sweet part of the bat. Nice running here, doesn't reach up until last second. Reach up too soon, it slows your forward progress.
I asked him, I said, what has Carlos Beltran meant to you in limited time? And he said, number one, he's taught me eye exercises, which we've talked about a little bit, how Carlos has done that in the past. As you see, Rod Barajas, longtime Major League veteran in his 11th season. But eye exercises, he's worked on that. And he also talked about how speed has to be a part of his game. And Beltran has convinced Komatsu about watching when you're a bench player, or even if you're in the game and inside that dugout, but watch when guys warm up in the bullpen, which I found interesting. He said, because you come in late, you might be that pinch runner. Speed keeps you in the big leagues. Watch for any tendency that you see in the bullpen with somebody, even in their warming up from the stretch. You will pick up stuff that helps you once you get in the game.
Very interesting. And Carlos also told me tonight, he goes, last year I was station to station. He goes, now I feel like my knees are strong enough that I can, at least go from first to third like you went from first to home, but that he wouldn't even think about a stealing a base last year, and now he's starting to think about it. And now what's going on? Yachty detects something. Lance Lynn's delivery.
Beltran is also a big advocate of video. And doing that not just for hitting, but base running as well, stealing. Who wants it? Shallow right. Carlos calls for it. He's got it for out number 2. Toyota keys to the game, and it's a look at the Cardinal starters.
Well, we mentioned, see their wins, their first ERA, their 4th. You check out Wainwright, and we don't pick it on him, but he's just struggling coming back a little bit right now. It'd be 1.55 ERA. They've only allowed 6 home runs, 7 now with I think with the inside the Parker, but that was, and then they kept the opponents just down to a 227 average. They've been doing their job.
There's Pedro Alvarez. Remember this guy, 2nd overall pick in 2008. Many believe that he would not make the club out of spring training. He hit under 200. And this year he has started off at .074. 2 hits, both have been solo home runs.
Clint Hurdle was telling me they were even having trouble getting him to swing the bat. Last year they sent him down in the minor leagues and he tore up AAA, but when he came back up here, he just really, really struggled.
Talking with the Pirates personnel, they think it's more a mental thing at this point than it is physically.
It has to be. Now, some will tell you he's got a long stroke, and that he almost has to hit pitchers' mistakes.
That's right down the middle, and a strikeout of Pedro Alvarez, and the young man is hearing some boos from this sparse crowd in Pittsburgh. Jim Hayes will join us. Some news of the day coming up. It's 1-1. Cardinals and Pirates here on Fox Sports Midwest, your home of the Blues and Cardinals. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with us. Lance Lynn, the big righty, will lead things off against Charlie Morton. And that's strike one. We've seen injuries be a factor already in the first handful of games for St. Louis. That includes John Jay. Now, after the game, John had a sling and had the sling on, and all of a sudden he couldn't move the arm after crashing into the wall gym yesterday afternoon, but it looks like he will avoid the DL.
Yeah, there was a lot of concern that the DL would be where he would wind up. There was no structural damage on the shoulder found after the game, but he wasn't in some discomfort. But he said today he woke up and it feels a lot better. He's much more optimistic that it's going to be a short-term thing. Today he's just resting it, but he believes it won't be something that's going to be a lot of time lost.
Yeah, at the time the Cardinals felt that they, in a way, Al, had to push Schumacher for a couple of reasons. One, you had Berkman going on the DL, but then for Mike Matheny, you also had the injury to John Jay, unsure if he would be on the DL, so figured like the right time for Skip.
Yeah, you kind of always have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours to see how it responds, and Skip Schumacher, John Mozeliak, they called Skip yesterday, and one, he couldn't have gotten to the ballpark from where he's playing in minor leagues in time. But they said, are you okay with this? Because remember last year he was rushed to the big leagues.
Took a long time for him to get his timing back. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by MyKiaStLouis.com. Right now at Jack in the Box, you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by the new wireless receiver from AT&T UVerse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible.
So, and Skip's in a no-win situation. And of course, he says, yeah, I'm ready. I want to come, rather be in big leagues rather than AAA. But he told me 12. The reports from the media say 13 at-bats. At least the one thing last year, he had fewer at-bats, but it was at the extended spring instead of this year it was at AAA.
Kyle rips it foul. I know a lot of fans are curious, Mr. Raboski, about the future of a guy named Matt Adams. And, Mike Matheny will tell you he is very high on him, but right now he's not on the 40-man roster.
Not on the 40-man roster, wasn't a consideration. And you and I could find space for him.
Oh,
we could do it real quick. We could find, but a lot of times when you have a young guy like that, you had 31 home runs, 100-plus RBIs last year, Texas League Player of the Year. But his first year at AAA, he's off to a great start. He was batting like 400 down there. And a lot of times you don't want to interrupt that. You just let him keep on achieving that success. He'll be here soon enough.
2-2 the count on Furcal, who struck out swinging to start the game. 4 for Charlie Morton, first time through the Cardinal lineup. 2-2 is tapped foul. Full count. Leadoff hitters this year, 3 of the best right now. Most hits by leadoff hitters this season, 2 veterans and a youngster. Jeter, Furcal, and Ian Desmond. Washington off to a good start. Little bit high to Furcal. Matter of fact, the New York media is now speculating that Derek Jeter could get to 4,000 hits. MLB.TV, every game in HD. Find out more at Cardinals.com. Well, Jim, how about Matt Carpenter? Certainly a boost to his confidence the way that he started the season, and now he'll get a lot of playing time with Lance Berkman on the DL.
Yeah, he had the 5 RBI game, then followed that up with the walk-off RBI in the next game, and he says confidence is important, and he feels like he can now contribute, and obviously he'll be seeing a lot of playing time with Berkman on the DL. He says, though, that he'll never start thinking that he's a veteran guy. He's far from it, and he's reminded by the fans. He says at Busch Stadium he hears people yelling Carpenter, looking for an autograph, and he runs over there and he can see the disappointment on their face because they were looking for a Chris Carpenter autograph.
And that's taken a little bit low and away. By the way, Matt telling me before the game, Lance Berkman was his idol growing up, his favorite player growing up, and he said at the time when he was 15, his wife, Mackenzie, they were high school sweethearts, bought him a Berkman jersey that still hangs in his room at his parents' house. And I said, what has it been like now to play with your boyhood idol? He said, better than expected. He said, it's unbelievable what kind of teammate he's been. And he said after the big game he had against Chicago last weekend, he said the first guy that came to congratulate him was Lance Berkman, and he said it's genuine. You know, so many times in the sport now, I'm sure you've seen it, but you know, you're playing a guy's position. Not necessarily do they want to see that guy have the most success, but Berkman being a great teammate, he said he was genuine, and he said it's just been a thrill playing with him.
And Lance being the great teammate he is on this trip, even though he's on the disabled list. His family's not in St. Louis yet. And Mike Matheny said that if his family was there, he would have encouraged him to stay home and be with his family. But Lance goes, my extended family's out in Pittsburgh, so I want to be here and root them on. He could be a big influence.
He is one of those guys that even if he's hurt, you just get a benefit by having him around the clubhouse.
And Mike Matheny said that, you know, he could still be funny on the bench. He could still do this and do that. And there is room for that.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner at first is for Cowell. And that's a swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts already for Charlie Morton.
The breaking ball has been much better. A lot of times he'll run that curveball in on these hitters, and the left-hand hitters have to guard against the kind of what I say the sinking fastball like Maddox used to throw that appears inside then breaks back over the plate.
That's a breaking ball, then a strike. So many players you hear about that make it to the major leagues switch positions. Matt Holliday, one of those guys, originally drafted as a third baseman, moved to the outfield. He said Steve Finley was biggest help for him. Neil Walker, a good example for Pittsburgh. Former catcher, now playing second base. We've seen a lot of this with Holliday early on, where really he's fought the strike zone, it seems like. Second guessing some of these calls.
Holliday coming off a game in which he had a home run. You know, we've talked about the fact that it looks like he's hitting the ball hard, and he said he feels like his swing is in the right place, so he's not getting the results. He says as a hitter, you're tempted to change something when you're not getting results, even if you feel like the swing is in a good place, so he's had to fight changing something up.
Held up just enough. 2-2.
I didn't think he swung. I thought maybe the pitch might have been good enough. But when you've got a sinker baller on the mound, you want to start those runners, not running.
Hit to short again. And Holliday is 0 for 2. No, the ball scoots away. Maybe an error on Barmes. If it is, it'll be his second and the third overall for the Pirates here in the first 3 innings.
Should be an error. Poor throw. Morton, now I understand why he's doing all the strikeouts.
Runners at the corners now.
Came up on him, then he had trouble with the exchange. Short hop. Garrett Jones can't come up with it, so not running, but he does get over to third. And there you see for Cowell, Cardinals with 2 outs really have to take advantage of that situation.
Carlos talked about being healthy this offseason, working on that lower half, and it's made a difference with the power numbers he's put up. 5 home runs, and he has driven in 7 on the young year.
You're a switch hitter. You're always going to be, your natural side is going to be your right side. And I asked him about switching, becoming a switch hitter. He said he did it in pro ball. And very interesting was, he went to the farm director and said, I want to become a switch hitter. And they said no. And he goes, listen, it's my career. I want to play every day. I think I've got a better chance to play by being a switch hitter. And and so he kind of fought it, and they won out.
Lions out, leaves 2 on. Great day to be on the river or at the ballpark tonight. It's 1-1. Will be in town, and a limited number of tickets on sale April 27th at 10 a.m. Always a popular day. Visit cardinals.com/pooches for ticket information. Along with Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with you. PNC Park here in Pittsburgh. Lance Lynn back to work. Lance telling me that he had only been inside a major league ballpark twice prior to playing and pitching in the major leagues. He is from the great state of Indiana, which is Cardinal country.
Chicago?
I believe it was St. Louis and Cincinnati. Yep, just like Scott Rowland. Indiana native. There's a grounder and backhanded by Freese. He was working on that all day here at the ballpark. Those backhanded plays. Good luck to the Blues. They'll try to wrap it up tomorrow night. We've got it for you right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Sharks and Blues on Fox Sports Midwest, and we will be seen on Fox Sports Midwest Plus. Sharks and Blues, Cardinals Pirates, busy night on Fox Sports Midwest. A strike to Charlie Morton.
Our friend John Kelly has his playoff beard going. Also raises money for a good cause too. Have you seen him? It looks pretty good.
I have not. I watched the telecast, but wasn't on.
It was not the Fox Sports Midwest feed here in Pittsburgh.
John Mabry's got his Blues playoff beard growing.
Al, you would thrive with a playoff beard. You might want to think about that after they wrap it up tomorrow.
Let me know.
We'll get you hooked up with John Kelly and get you working for that charity. There's a strikeout for Lynn. I myself would not be a good candidate.
Why? You have to have the ability to grow facial hair.
Thank you, Al. It's a struggle. There's no doubt about it. But Al, thank you for clarifying.
Yes, and you know, you haven't seen the cat that comes and licks his face and shaves him every day?
Not this cat.
No, a different little kitty.
Yeah.
No, I
definitely not this cat.
No.
No.
I might get him a coffee. I might get him a coffee now and again. Dan, I see a little stubble. I think you could grow a beard.
It's debatable.
All right. Don't push it then.
Here's Alex Presley, the leadoff man for Pittsburgh.
Let's see if he learned something about his former teammate in college.
At Ole Miss, two teammates, Alex Presley and Lance Lynn. For Presley, by the way, it was the first inside the park leadoff home run for the Pirates since 1980. Omar Moreno. Let's take you back to the first inning. Just the second pitch in the return of Skip Schumacher. Bam! Right off the wall. He wanted to stay in, but precautionary reasons. Mike Matheny lifts him, and if we had a hockey term, I'm not sure we have lower body injury or upper body injury.
Well, apparently he got the wind knocked out of him. So of all the things knock you out of a game, that's probably the best one for a quick recovery.
Well, you worry about wrist. You think about his oblique. He's had issues with that, obviously. Broken ribs, whatever the case may be. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and it's hit out of play. Al, did you like going up against former teammates, or was it bothersome at all? Or how did you approach it?
I learned a lesson. You know, I playing with the Cardinals and coming up, Tim McCarver was very kind to me, and went out a lot of times with him on the road. And when he got traded, I had to face him one time. He got a base hit off me, and I was madder at that than anything else. And I learned a lesson. You can hate your former teammates just as much as you can hate the other guys.
But then like them after the game.
No.
Be friends again.
No.
Come on, Al.
To serve you when and where you need it. Once your prescription is in the Schnucks system, you can pick it up at any of the Schnucks pharmacies. Viewers throughout the area might also need Schnucks pharmacies. They're in Cape Girardeau, Jeff City, Columbia, Missouri, Centralia, Carbondale, Springfield, Illinois, just to name a few, but none here in Pittsburgh.
David Freese leads it off for St. Louis. Freese struck out, called third strike. Looked to be a high strike first time up. Grounds it foul. The Pirates used 52 different players last year. That was the third highest total in the major leagues. Clint Hurdle is trying to snap that losing skid at 19 consecutive sub-500 teams. A record for North American sports franchises.
Remember, they thought they were going to break it last season. We came in the second half of the season, and they were actually in first place. But then their pitching kind of caught up with them. They started the season playing against a lot of clubs with winning records of a year ago, and even some of the playoff teams, including the Cardinals. So I think they are making progress.
They reached the 100-game mark, tied for first, as you mentioned. And then they lost 43 of their final 62. And remember, Clint Hurdle was telling us that the lineup had to get better down the stretch. They went out and got Derek Lee. They got Ryan Ludwig. But at that point in time, wasn't meant to be. And there's a base hit to right for David Freese. It wound up being their 7th straight 90-loss campaign, to add to the 19 consecutive losing seasons.
You've got a sinker ball pitcher on the mound, so you can get a lot of ground balls. That one he just kind of fought and muscled it through the right side.
It seems like we get surprised when we look up and see the average at 333, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. But maybe this is what we should expect, because Molina in his career is around a 280 hitter.
And that one year, a few years back, was 218, and he's a much better hitter than those days. Still is considered to be the benchmark in Major League Baseball for a defensive catcher, but last season he led the ball club in hitting at 305. First time a Cardinal catcher had done so since Ted Simmons back in 1973.
0-1 pitch, and that's inside to Yachty. Not sure you would agree with this, but the biggest key this year for the Cardinals, staying healthy.
Oh, it almost seems like every year, but you documented it. To probably the guy that you cannot replace is in the batter's box right now. You don't want to replace guys like Berkman. You don't want to replace Furcal and others, but you can. But if you had, got confidence in Tony Cruz, but if you were to say, okay, somebody had to play for a month straight, you'd probably want something a little more than a Brian Anderson or a Tony Cruz.
When you think about the starter for the Cardinals tonight, Lance Lynn, who was terrific in the 8th inning last year in the bullpen, but you've got Chris Carpenter. At some point, you expect to see him back. And maybe that could be a blessing in disguise. Ton of innings over the last couple of years. Let him get himself fully healthy and ready to roll, and fresh.
It could be like making a superstar trade. You get him back, his presence, and then probably when he comes back, if all the other stars are healthy, you probably take a little burden off the shoulders of Lance Lynn, put him back into short relief, cut down his innings.
There's a breaking ball and a strike. Derek Lilliquist, who serves as the Cardinals pitching coach, told me tonight, Al, he said he's had one guy, and he was the rehab coordinator for a number of seasons for the Redbirds. And Derek said, I've had one guy who never questioned how he looked. Motion, velocity, arm slot, coming back from injury. He said it was unbelievable, but it gave him insight into the mental makeup and confidence of Chris Carpenter. He said, I've never seen anything like it, where normally you have guys that are coming back and they question everything because they're coming off an injury, a serious injury. But he said Carpenter was the guy that never questioned it, and that's why he feels very strongly that he'll come back and be better than ever. Strikeout number 6.
Hadn't he already won 2 comeback players of the year?
I don't think you want to win a third, but if you have to, why not?
But now he does.
Right.
But there's that kind of hanging breaking ball. Swing and a miss.
Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. Derek, by the way, was moved from pitching coach to the rehab job in the minor leagues. Really created that position because of Mark Mulder, Chris Carpenter, and Josh Kenny. So
Jaime Garcia had 2.
Jaime at the time, but the big 3,
right,
that had name value, if you will, major leagues, and could help once they became healthy, were those 3. But you're right, Garcia was a big part of that. And Derek in 2002 was the pitching coach at Johnson City. He said you learn an awful lot when guys are injured about the mental aspect of the game. And
it's kind of an up and down that first year, coming off the Tommy John surgery with Adam Wainwright is going through. And if you really think about it, the first game he made a couple bad pitches. Second game was just horrible. Yesterday you really had one bad inning and a couple pretty good hitters. Got some cutters that didn't go where he wanted them. But I think there was still a lot of improvement.
Tapped out to Morton, who knocks it down. Camacho is out at first. To follow up your point, it's really the secondary pitches when you talk to guys that have come back from injury, the pitchers, as Camacho nearly beat this out. But they talk about the cutter and the curveball and not being able to locate.
Consistency.
Exactly. And a repeatable delivery too.
And a lot of the guys that have had success that came that next year, well, they were like at 19 months, where Adam is like at 13 months. He injured his right at the beginning of spring training of 2011, or say somebody else would have gotten hurt 2010, had the surgery, but they had 2 off seasons to really fully heal. That's why they get that extra 6 months. His 19 months will be in the fall.
Descalso struck out first time up and hits it to the right side. Neil Walker is there. Cardinals strand a runner. They've stranded 4. Midway through 4. Tied up. It's 1-1. Yankees will be in Fenway. Adrian Gonzalez and the Red Sox. Or it's the White Sox, and they'll take on Ichiro and the Mariners. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 2:30. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. So a look at the lowest opponent average this season. The shutdown starters that are Lance Lynn and Jake Westbrook. Jake will go tomorrow night.
Yeah, Jake, now they're off to a great start. Got that sinker really working. Of course, the Cardinals' bats have helped out the starting pitching with the exception of Adam Wainwright. They have not scored a run while Adam's been on the mound this year.
Tabata will lead it off, bottom of the 4th.
Lance Lynn has got 7 runs of support in his first 2 starts. 7 each game.
Jake has had that new look going this year. No carbohydrate diet that has helped him shed over 20 pounds. 34-year-old. He's talked about this being a very big season for him personally.
The ball club holds an option on Westbrook, I think, but it was hard to figure out why he didn't have success last year. He was the perfect guy, 76% ground balls. fit right into the thinking of Dave Duncan.
There's a ground ball base hit. Yeah, the philosophy of this organization has been pound the bottom of the strike zone, make guys put it in play.
I think last year he walked a few too many, but this year he's cut that down. Tabata, his second consecutive hit. A little breaking ball and out of the strike zone, but it's down. Gets the ground ball he wants, but just beyond the reach of David Freese.
And the thing about Westbrook, too, normally you could count on him in his days in Cleveland going a little deeper into games.
Right. But his pitch count would get up there and because of the walks, and I think a lot of that's been rectified.
Averaged less than 6 innings per start last year. Worked 7 or more just 7 times. He made 33 appearances, but none bigger than Game 6.
And he got the win in that game. And Westbrook's averaging 7 innings per start this year.
There's Andrew McCutchen. He is the face of this franchise now.
Exciting player. You know, he can do it all.
Pretty good numbers last year. 23 home runs, drove in 89.
23 steals.
Only hit, though, 216 after the All-Star break.
It's almost like, you know, the pitchers ran out of gas, but, you know, when your best players start slumping.
He's fun to watch run, too. He was a championship sprinter in high school. Fort Meade, Florida is where he's from. And he was a very high draft choice, like many of these Pirates. 11th overall in 2005. Minor League Player of the Year in 06. Rookie of the Year in the Major Leagues in 2009. And last season he was an All-Star.
You know, he kind of came up with that same class when Kobe Rasmus did. And a lot of people rated Rasmus higher than McCutchen, but clearly McCutchen has become a better Major League player.
One and two the count, following a leadoff base hit by Tabata. He's 2 for 2.
Tabata thought that Tabata, according to McCutchen, should have been running on that last pitch. He took that strike.
Just missed on the outside corner. We talk about the legs and the power of a Carlos Beltran and the fact that Matt Carpenter has worked on his lower half. David Freese has talked about that with his lower half and being healthy. The same can be said for the guy at the plate, because when he first got to professional baseball, relied on his speed. And they said, wait a minute now, you can let it rip. Use the bottom half as Tabata is running, and the pitch is hit out to right field. Beltran, so smooth out there, makes the catch. But just an all-around threat in Andrew McCutchen.
Kind of small but wiry body, and is much stronger than people would realize. So go ahead and utilize all your assets.
Brings in Neil Walker, grounded into a 4-6-3 double play, first time up. And the first pitch is a strike. Pirates had identical road and home marks last year at 36 and 45. Finished up 72 and 90. Throw down to second. They got him. Quick tag applied by Furcal. The cannon by Molina behind the plate. Pretty good jump, but Yachty nullified that.
All the pitchers have to do is just pay attention, keep that runner close, and then just let Yachty do his thing. Difference maker. Very few clubs even run against his shotgun arm. I like it when teams run against him.
I do too. It's just fun to watch him throw. And Walker skies one to center. Komatsu back and makes the catch. Molina guns him down. We're tied up. September 16th. Visit Cardinals.com/6K for more information. We promote that now, and you can get a percentage off that price that will go up after the month of April. In honor of Stan the Man, the 6K.
Speaking of running, didn't you run a half marathon the other day?
I did.
How'd you do?
I made it. That's all I could say.
Very well.
There's a line drive, base hit by Lance Lynn into right field.
He was 2 for 5. Now he's 1 for 2 on the day. Leadoff base hit here will be some good luck for us. Ball up. It's the middle of the zone right there. Just shoots it to the right side.
Here's Rafael Furcal.
A play behind at first base.
Just don't realize how much Furcal meant to this team in terms of defense, but also in terms of just having fun, excitement, smiling. During BP today, Allie's bouncing around and joking with the guys, keeping it loose.
It's his idea, the happy flight, which caught on big.
It's on the rings.
Yep. The last 2 flights, though, they haven't been happy flights. Last 2 getaway days, the Cardinals lost. So we'll have to put a stop to that. But one, he really did dramatically change the defense. Really tighten it up a little bit.
It was 10 consecutive getaway day games in September and October, which covered the postseason and regular season for those happy flights. Little check swing. They're playing in. Alvarez. Advancing on the play, Lance Lynn, and it brings in Matt Carpenter.
Didn't mean to, but at least got the runner over in scoring position.
Matt Carpenter is a position player that has returned from Tommy John surgery. And that's why he played 5 years of college baseball. Received a medical red shirt when he was at TCU. And in his mind, and Al, this kind of follows up the point that you were talking about with Wainwright not having a lot of time to come back, that we see some pitchers that 18, 19th month period. Carpenter said it's a miracle what he's doing. He said, I know when I first came back, and at that point in time he was playing third base, and that's why he shifted it to first. He said it was so hard just to even get a feel of throwing it across the diamond. He said it was going everywhere. He said, I can't imagine at this level trying to make pinpoint pitches, you know, when you don't have that feel that Wainwright clearly does not quite have right now.
Well, I saw Tommy John, come back from the surgery, and he was the very first. That time Dr. Joe didn't even have the utensils that they use today, and just radically, you know, laid from armpit to armpit, laid the shoulder open, or excuse me, the elbow, and you know that's how they used to do the old shoulders. They'd lay it completely open. There's nothing arthroscopic about the surgery. But I watched him in the bullpen where he'd have to jam the ball, take the glove off, jam the ball in his hand, because he'd had the atrophy in his hand, and jam the ball in there, then put his glove back on and throw the ball. And I'm saying, who are you kidding? And of course he came back and pitched 10 or 12 years longer than that.
High strike, and the count runs full.
Jim Joyce not only high, but a bit wide, but did have a corner part of the plate.
The 3-2 pitch misses in, so Carpenter draws a walk. Second time that he's been on base, and a chance for Holiday to do some damage.
Mentioned that Mike Matheny asked Holiday if he wants some time off, and he said, no, I want to battle my way through this. And one of the things Mike was saying is they have a device at the stadium that measures how many miles per hour you hit the ball with contact. And he said he's been in this period of time where he's not getting much success, hitting line drives. He said nobody hits the ball as hard as he's hit during this period. And so that's why he doesn't worry about it and let him work his way through it.
2 on, 1 out. Holiday, another ground ball to short. Out at second. Double play. No, it's safe at first.
I'm with you, Dan. Crowd didn't like it. We thought a botch call, but our first base umpire, Jim Reynolds, his mind, I'm glad he called it the way he saw it.
The hustle of Holiday pays off. No argument from Clint Hurdle, but he's pacing inside that Pirates dugout.
Ground ball, Barmas, Walker. Looked like it was going to be bang bang, but I thought he was out. Jim Reynolds, the only one that counts, and he said safe, extending the inning.
You never know, could be big. Here's Beltran. If you're a fan at home and you say Beltran, you're fine. If you say Beltran, you're also fine. That's according to Carlos. Either way, he says. Right side, base hit. Cardinals take the lead. Lynn will score to make it 2-1, and some boos for our first base umpire.
Boy, not hit hard, but well placed. Lance Lynn helps his own cause, getting the base hit, and eventually comes around to break the 1-1 tie. Carlos said, you know, I wouldn't trade everything that happened in New York. So I got a lot of friends there. He said, I'm loving it in St. Louis. My wife loves where we're living. That's a big part of, helps out players' attitudes also. And he said it was just the negativity of New York just coming down from the front office, kind of drifting in the clubhouse. He said, St. Louis is just so relaxed. He said, I've always wanted to play here because they always seemed like they were beating us.
Carlos was part of some very good teams in New York, and then with their financial situation, things changed.
He also said, when he was traded from Kansas City to Houston, he said he really enjoyed it there. The first time he got to play in postseason, eliminated by the Cardinals, like he was with New York in 07, eliminated by the Cardinals. But he said that money was not an issue. What he wanted was a no-trade clause, and they were not going to give that to him. He said, look what happened. Right after that, everybody got traded. He said, I liked it there, but it meant enough to me that the difference was I wanted the no-trade clause. New York gave it to me, and Houston didn't.
And in a way, he's just a complimentary piece here in St. Louis. He's a big one, but not everything is put on his shoulders. Now it's Freeze. Little bloop into right. Should be caught, and it is. Blown call possibly at first. Extended the inning to Beltran, and he makes him pay with an RBI base hit. Cardinals have their first lead, 2-1. Kevin Correa, he's 1-0. Jake is 2-0. We're on the air at 5:30. It's our What's on Tap, brought to you by Budweiser, the secondary channel on Fox Sports Midwest.
Can I ask a silly question? And for our viewers at home, what is the secondary channel?
I have answers for you, Al. PNC Park, by the way, is where we're at. That's Al. I'm Dan. Jim is with us as well. So it's Fox Sports Midwest Plus. Our pregame at 5:30. First pitch at 6. A swing and a miss. If you head to our website.
That's where you find out?
Yeah, foxsportsmidwest.com. They will give you, if you're AT&T Uverse or DirecTV, Dish,
Charter.
Yeah, whatever the case may be, they'll give you your location, the station, where it's at. So just head to foxsportsmidwest.com.
Good. See, we got that information out there because I'm sure a lot of them were asking the same question.
That's right. So Fox Sports Midwest Plus tomorrow, and the Blues will be on Fox Sports Midwest.
Go Blues.
Blues and Sharks at 6. And the face-off from Scott Trade at 6:30. We're on the air at 6. Darren Pang and John Kelly and Bernie Federico. 3-1 the count.
Shutdown inning. Team just got you a lead. Of course, he was a big part of it. Lead-off base hit, scored that second run. Now you got to shut down the opposition.
Jones fouls it back, and that one caught Molina. Full count. Jim Joyce will give Yachty a few seconds to catch his breath. Garrett Jones with 16 home runs last year. Now he has the most home runs of any Pirate since 2009 with over 60. And he did the majority of his damage against right-handed pitching. 14 of the 16 were against righties a year ago. We talked about a platoon situation at first base. Casey McGee, the former Brewer. There's a ground ball, base hit. Leadoff man aboard.
Yachty putting down the signs, but really no target until the end. I think that's part of the quick pace of Lance Lynn. Guys work a little quicker. Bob Gibson, boxed several times because he and McCarver were so much in sync. Bob would start his windup and look in to get the sign, and sometimes he goes, "Oh, Timmy, that's not the one," and he'd stop his motion right halfway, but he would start the motion and look in and get the sign.
Broken bat, Freeze plays it on a hop. Out at second. That's a double play, and that may have been done intentionally by David Freeze to play it on the hop, not catch it, and get the double play. Heads up play if it was.
I wouldn't put it past him, would you?
No, not at all.
You got the runner at first to slow down just a second. Watch him come in here. He played it at a hop all the way, but that runner doesn't know that. And does a nice job, gets the double play.
Brings in Pedro Alvarez. Hit 191 last year. Was called out on strikes his first time up. Struck out last year 31% of his at-bats. 80 times and 262 ABs. There's talk of him playing winter ball, but Clint Hurdle decided not to do that because they wanted to take the pressure off of Alvarez, get away from the game, clear your mind. And if anybody knows about expectations as a player, it's Clint Hurdle.
Yep, he was.
There's a fly ball in the center. Yeah.
And it's an extra lot of pressure. Phenom of the spring.
Catch made by Komatsu easily in center field. Liv Moss. Find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. PNC Park is the scene as we move to the top of the sixth. And the Cardinals have a 2-1 lead. 4 hits aside, and right-hander Evan Meek comes in out of the bullpen. And he'll replace Charlie Morton.
And Charlie Morton, who said started the season on the disabled list, got a setback coming back off the hip surgery. So he only goes 5 here. Unfortunate thing for him is he's only in line for the loss. So see our Chevy called to the bullpen, Evan Meek. He retired all 3 Arizona batters he faced on Tuesday night, the 7th. Did the same thing last Friday against San Francisco. Batters are hitting .250 off him against the young season, 5 for 20.
Evan Meek represented the Pirates in the 2010 All-Star game. Had a terrific year. ERA just over 2 in 70 games. And now this season really trying to rebound after just 20 2/3 innings last season. He had shoulder problems. And if he's right and if he's healthy, more than likely would be the setup man in the bullpen. There's a hanging breaking ball. Molina tried to jump on it and flies out to right. 1 away. Hanrahan is the all-star closer, but we won't see him in this series, it looks like.
Well, he has a hamstring issue and described his day-to-day, but Juan Cruz picked up saves in the last 2 games, so I'll try to make sure they get him back when he's fully healthy, so we'll have to wait and see.
Here's Komatsu. Skip Schumacher was hurt early in this game, and he looks at a ball low and in. The name Komatsu, his grandparents hail from just outside Tokyo, Japan. Mexican and Japanese heritage for Komatsu. Lines it out to left, and that's caught.
Gone from a ground ball pitcher to a fly ball pitcher so far. Ground balls stay in the ballpark. Fly balls can leave. 21-foot right field fence in honor of Roberto Clemente.
Evan Meek, nice work. Quickly done. 1, 2, 3. Alvarez puts it away. Clint Barmes leads it off when we come back. Redbirds on top. It's a 2-1 game. Redbird is wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt. It's Tomorrow at 11 on Fox Sports Midwest with Fred Bird and Andy Bennis. 2-1 as we move to the bottom of the 6th.
Out of town scoreboard.
You mentioned
information, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Maybe the most significant piece is that number 21 in honor of Roberto Clemente.
Ballpark kind of favors left-handed hitters from a power standpoint. Right-handers, if they pull the ball down the line, they're okay, but out in left center is the deepest part of the field.
Clint Barmes, the former Rocky, he spent 11 years in their organization. Last season with Houston, he did go around. So Clint Hurdle knows him well. He signed a 2-year deal to replace Ronnie Cedeno. Began the season on the DL. He had a fractured hand last season. Eventually hit 244. We have the Missouri Valley Conference based in St. Louis, and Clint played at Indiana State, part of the MVC, which is known for its basketball but also baseball. Great players have come out of the MVC, and Barmes is just a tad late. Currently about 24 players from the Valley are in Major League Baseball. Hyundai replay late on that swing.
Long swing way off the plate. Just a third strikeout for Lynn, but you take away the inside of the park home run, and he's only allowed 3 singles.
There's a breaking ball and a strike. So pinch hitter here for Meek. Very good job by him.
Navarro
hits it to Freeze. 2 away.
came in with a 205 batting average, the Pirates did, and you really just can't take them for granted. You just got to go out there and treat them like all big leaguers, or you'll get stung. And Lance Lynn just keeps on mowing down people. He just, a lot of times when you have a young guy like this, 2-0, came in with a 1.50 ERA, then all of a sudden they start saying, "Oh, what am I? I'm supposed to duplicate this," and they start worrying about it. Lance Lynn's not that kind of guy. Nothing's going to bother him. He's just going to go out there and just oblivious to what his surroundings and just go out and pitch.
1-0 pitch to Presley. 1 ball, 1 strike. People wonder what will bring the fans back. What kind of promotion? Bottom line here in Pittsburgh, it's winning.
It's the only promotion.
Last year they had a jump of 22% increase in their attendance, which was the best in the National League. So 22% jump last year, but hey, it coincided with them being in first place, 100 games in, having a chance to get to postseason. They actually weren't sellers. They were buyers at the trade deadline. Nice play by Lance Lynn. Look what I found. It's an out off the bat of Presley. Lance will lead it off. He's got little smiles we had to break. question, presentation of AT&T. Named the 4 Cardinals with 2 or more home runs against lefties all time in the World Series.
Be happy to see that Alan Craig when he comes back.
Yeah.
Ken Boyer, the captain, Albert Pujols, and Big Mike Shannon, who's on assignment, not with us in Pittsburgh.
Good to see, though, that Jim Jackson has help inside that booth.
Oh, yeah. Professor came up to work with Jim.
His protege. Here's Lance Lynn against Jared Hughes, 6'7", 220-pounder.
He did pitch in 12 games for the Pirates last season. He is the lone rookie on the ball club this year.
Here's a ground ball by Lynn. Alvarez. One away. Unselected in the Rule 5 draft twice for Hughes. Opened up last season at Double-A. He was a swingman there.
He went to Indianapolis and pitched solely in relief, and then got 12 appearances for the Pirates late in the season. 0-1, ERA just over 4. Something else, Dan, when you got, you lost 19 consecutive seasons, and I know they brought up a lot of kids the last couple of years, but you would think they'd have more than just one rookie.
For Kyle, slapping it the other way. 2 outs. If you'd like to be here at PNC Park next time the Cardinals take on the Pirates, check it out at StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals and the Pirates. Matt Carpenter, a pair of walks. He's also struck out. So this 6'7" righty, when he's right, his numbers show that his strikeouts in the minor leagues, those totals weren't too bad. And he does a lot of this when he's right. Ground balls. Good work by the bullpen so far. And also the big righty, Hughes. Cannon he possesses. Doing more on defense. Brought to you by the Home Depot. I mentioned this the other day, Al. They say that Yachty down to second is about a 1.7. The average is 1.9, and at times he's better than 1.7, which is Molina's average. But you think about just that split second right there made all the difference in the world of how quickly he gets it down to second base.
Quickly, accurate. You got a pitcher that'll pay attention and has a quick move, quick to the release to home plate. You put that time together, and very few runners can beat it.
Lance Lynn pitching into the 7th. Charlie Morton tonight. His final line, 5 innings, 4 hits, a couple of runs. 1 was earned. He walked 3, struck out 6, 93 pitches. 59 were strikes.
It's kind of new territory for Lance Lynn. See, stretch it out here. He's averaged 6 innings in each start. Last year he made 2 starts. He went in over 5 innings in each of them, but kind of keep a close eye on him. Falling behind here, got it into a hitter's count. And Tava has done a good job. He's hit .357 against the Cardinals in his young career.
The 3-1 pitch. Ground ball to second. 1 away. What is it about Lynn when he's right, Al, when we saw him in the bullpen last year or even today in his first handful of starts? What is it about him when he's effective? What do you see?
Well, I think when he comes out of the bullpen, he knows he can rear back and add miles to his fastball. But as you see him right now, he just does so many things right. He doesn't walk anybody. He usually pitches at the bottom of the strike zone. He's not afraid to challenge hitters and just use what he has. I just got a lot of confidence in him. He's got the fastball. He's got the off-speed pitches that he can throw for strikes. Not a lot of experience, but nothing really phases him.
It's tapped foul by McCutchen.
Changes speeds in the breaking ball.
One ball, 1 strike on McCutchen. He's 0 for 2. Fly ball out to left. Holiday going back, drifting, but still makes the catch on the track.
May be the hardest ball hit of the evening, but because he challenges people, he hits a line drive. See where this pitch is. He's a hanging breaking ball. Had that real hump in there, but hit a line drive right to Holiday. Lance Lynn on the young season has got 18 2/3 innings pitched, and he's only walked 3. That's a big key. Pitching ahead in the count, attacking hitters. Big, strong. You'd have to think twice about going out there and challenging him.
Walker 0 for 2, 4.63 double play in the first. Also flied out to center. That floats in there for a strike. Now he's a switch hitter. On deck, Garrett Jones. So thinking along here with manager Mike Matheny, he's got the lefty getting up loose in the pen, and you would figure that would be for Jones. 1-1 pitch, taken low and away.
Well, like I said, he's kind of in new territory. Pitching here in the 7th inning. But you've seen he hasn't had to labor at all. Look like he's, aware of the score, just going out and doing his job, not worrying about anybody else's.
The thing I notice is arm action and really changes speeds well, Al.
Well, that's it. His fastball, his changeup, his breaking ball, all come from the same angle. Hitter out in front. Big and strong. You shouldn't be worried about him throwing 7 innings. 94, we've seen him as high as 98 coming out of the bullpen, but 94 still gets your attention. Not a whole lot of starters throw much harder than that. A
3-2 pitch. Walked him.
His first walk, and he wasn't happy with himself.
Now, if you're Mike Matheny, you've got the lefty getting loose in the pen. Do you go there?
Yeah, I think one thing is, you can do that. It's going to be pitching coach coming out to him, Derek Lilliquist. But, one of the things you also want to do is you want to keep things very positive. You always want to leave him in a position to where he can win games, not lose games, and keep that confidence high. Zepchinski warming up that bullpen, and I think he really wasn't warming up with a lot of intensity. So now, after the walk, Mike calls down and said, is he ready? And it could be one of those situations. Derek comes right back, and they could go out and get him.
Some pitches by inning. A couple of times he's had 12 and really labored a little bit in the first, if you want to call it that. But outside of that, Al, he's been terrific.
Keep that around 12 pitches per inning. You're gonna go well into a ball game, and when you get down to pitching 6 outs for your bullpen, you're usually going to win that ball game. The bullpen has to go like 12 or more outs. And they have a tendency to, they're going to be scored upon. But starter goes 7, and he looks like he's right on the top step. He may make this decision on this batter just by what happens. Flashing signs giving Zepchinski enough time to get ready. That's what the delay is right now. I'm watching Zepchinski. He doesn't seem like he's in any hurry throwing pitches in the bullpen.
He's been up for a while. You got to think that he's loose.
Well, but I think until you get a base runner, you're really not. You're kind of going along with him, but there was no need. But now when you see this real stall tactic, obviously they're giving him time. But you see what I'm saying? He's not like firing, so I have to say he's ready to pitch right now.
Yeah. Mentioned before, you have to be careful with a guy like Garrett Jones, who does his damage against right-handers. 14 of his 16 home runs last year against right-handed pitching. They've talked about the platoon at first base when a lefty is on the mound. So Mike Matheny sticking with Lance Lynn. 2 balls, no strikes.
Decision now is you want to Lance Lynn facing Garrett Jones, or the possibility that he might have to face Casey McGee with Zepchinski. I'm not sure you're talking about your platoon.
We're at PNC Park, the banks of the Allegheny. Home of the Pirates. Cards and Pirates game 1 of a weekend series. Dan McLaughlin, the Mad Hungarian, Al Rabaski, Jim Hayes. The Pirates, by the way, have played 8 one-run games already in their first 12, and here we are, 2-1 game. That's a strike.
Pitch here, cripples count. That's where hitters like Jones are very dangerous.
Three and 2. We picked up Garrett Jones back in 2008. Minor league free agent. Spent time with Minnesota and Atlanta. Chase ball 4 there.
And the ball just ran. I don't like to pitch inside to a power hitter, especially when you have to throw a strike. You have a tendency to leave it middle half in.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. It's a strikeout, and what a way to end it here in the 7th inning for Lance Lynn. Redbirds, Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio with this Bomarito Sports Update at Pat Paris. All right, Pat, as always, great job. Rick Ankiel with a throw the other day that was eye-popping. I don't think any of us will forget his night in Colorado and the two great throws against the Rockies. And a former Rocky steps in, and that's Matt Holliday. Holliday, a tough night. He's kept Clint Barmas busy. 3 times he's grounded his direction, reached on an error, and arguably the biggest play in this game, a fielder's choice that he hustled to beat out a double play. Extended an inning to Beltran, who is on deck, and Carlos with a 2-out RBI base hit to make it 2-1. That was back in the 5th inning, and that's where we stand right now. Big Blues fan and Cardinal fan watching tonight. Travis Griffin watching with our buddy Matt Poling. Used to work for the Cardinals, now with the St. Louis Blues. And it's fun to see the sports teams get behind each other, which the Cardinals have done with the Blues and vice versa. The 2-2 pitch. Holliday. Again, a little bouncer left side. Alvarez can't make the play. It's a base hit for Holliday.
Maybe that'll change the luck for Holliday. Just a little swing and bunt. Goes the third base way. Alvarez came in on it, tried to make the exchange and couldn't hold on to the ball. Dropped it.
Boy, Al, it just, when it rains, it pours. And right now, Alvarez cannot do anything right. He's hearing boos every time he's at the plate. After that play, he was booed.
Made a couple errors on the season. That scored a base hit, and rightfully so. But a little bit of luck, you know, that has to be gobbled up at this level, and that play be made.
Carlos Beltran. RBI base hit in the 5th. He is lined out and also reached on an error. Pirates have committed 3 errors tonight. That's tapped foul. Al, they talk about, and you mentioned this earlier, in watching Beltran, especially from this side of the plate. They talk about how he just drops the barrel of the bat and winds up having, in some ways, an unorthodox swing, even though it looks smooth. It's not, though, that classic lefty swing.
Correct. And we said, you know, his natural side of hitting is right. He wanted to become a switch hitter because he thought it would make him available to play more often. And he's right.
You think about great switch hitters. He is one of them now, and one of the statistically all-time greats.
Well, there's 9 that have had over 300 home runs.
That's right.
And he's at 307. His teammate Lance Berkman 358. So there's 2 of the 9.
And that's what I'm talking about right there.
Told me the way he feels right now and just how he's enjoying himself. He said, I could play another 5 years.
This time he goes the other way, and that ball will get down. It's a base hit. The all-time leader in home runs for switch hitters, Mickey Mantle. The Mick, 536.
And then Eddie Murray's got to be real close.
Yep, he's over 500.
He's over 500, right.
Our crowd tonight, 23,509. That's generous here at PNC Park.
There's what you're talking about, that swing. You know, he just kind of just reached out and kind of flipped the wrist, hit it to where it was pitched, out towards left.
Cardinals have a right-hander getting loose in the pen. At one point, Juan Cruz, who's been serving as their closer, was up and throwing for Pittsburgh. No activity right now.
Mitchell Boggs is the right-hander in the Cardinal pen.
He has to get up now when he's called upon and have so much confidence. Looks up right now. 1-run game, 8th inning, crucial situation, and his manager thinks enough of him to say, hey, get ready, you're coming in possibly.
Yeah, I think what Mitchell tried to do a big head case job on himself and everything, but it sure helped going to spring training and knowing that your manager is really pulling for you. And then he's backing it up by putting him in these tough assignments. That's all a player can ask for.
But just how important is David Freese? When he drives in a run,
the team wins.
Yep. More times than not, this team is going to come away with a victory. No balls and a strike on the Cardinal third baseman. 1 for 3 tonight. Numbers don't lie. When Freese drives them in, 2 or more RBIs, 22 and 3. 1 RBI, they're a game above 500. No RBIs under 500. 0-1 pitch to David. Tap to the left side. Alvarez to second. Out there. It's a double play. And it's up to Yadier Molina.
You talked about this pitcher, Hughes, and his ability to get ground balls paid off there. And Joyce out to check it. Wow, didn't throw it out. Touched the dirt. Probably Yachty didn't ask for it, a new one. Maybe he asked to have it checked, and Joyce kept it in play. Ray Surge, the pitching coach, now out to talk their pitcher with Yachty up. Maybe the fact that you got a Rule 5 Komatsu on deck. You got a pretty good RBI man here.
Very good with 2 outs. Yachty, 297 hitter. Runners in scoring position since 2005. As you mentioned, Komatsu on deck.
A rookie on the mound, so.
Ron Renicky, when you think about what Milwaukee does with George Kataris, who had a couple of walk-off hits this last week, serves more than just a backup catcher. He is a terrific pinch hitter for them.
Right. Remember, he hit a 3-run home run off McClellan beginning of the season, and you got a rookie out there in the mound. You got a very, go out and have all that time. Why not you take the pressure off him and just have him intentionally walk him?
And the point I'm bringing up, if you felt like Cruz could be a guy to pinch hit, you've got on the bench right now Shane Robinson, who could play center field. You know that you'd have no problem in that regard if you pinch hit for Komatsu.
It's really interesting because
Move will pay. Yeah, I think you said it right, Al. Got away with it. Move pays off. They stay with him. Pitch to Molina. 1-run lead for St. Louis as we move to the bottom of the 8th. brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Beautiful night here in the city of Pittsburgh. Called this the City of Champions. The Pirates and Steelers were rolling in the 70s. Chevy called to the pen. Here's Mitchell Boggs, and it's up to the bullpen to see if they can make this lead stick and get him another win.
Mitchell did suffer the team's first blown save of the season on Tuesday, and allowing an unearned run on 2 errors. One of them was his own, but also has that ability. One of the reasons you like to come out of the pen, ability to strike out people.
There's a check swing on a little slider, and that's a pitch that this spring training Mitchell Boggs was working very hard on, trying to improve his secondary. He's got a terrific sinker that we've seen. He's gotten on top of that. He's had better sink, but this is the breaking ball here, Al, and it fooled the hitter.
Right, got a little slider right there, you say, down and away, and just got a little tapper, just almost like a little bunt. Say thank you very much. 1 out. Great job by Lance Lynn. Now up to Boggs and company to close out this 2-1 win.
Here's Pedro Alvarez. Called out on strikes. Flied out to center. The first pitch is a strike.
2 for 29 to start this young season, and both hits were home runs.
Again, the second overall pick in 08 out of Vanderbilt. Expectations so high on this young hitter.
And I'm sure it's a situation where you're almost there. You kind of see that long swing where you're almost forced to play him, or for the front office to admit they made a mistake making him the second overall pick in the country. They say he's a wonderful young man. You know, great attitude, but just kind of lost.
The 0-2 pitch. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Clint Barmas with 2 down. Took over for Ronnie Cedeno. First pitch, a strike, a slider from Boggs. How about that? First pitch sliders from Mitchell Boggs.
That's great if you can throw them for strikes. Or tempt a hitter to swing at it.
The scouting report, you know that he's got the power sinker. And all of a sudden he has that tight slider.
It's more of a cutter speed there, but like it backed up a little bit. But he can throw that sinker like 94 miles an hour. It's just, you don't even want to play catch with the guy that's got a hard power sinker.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Got him. Nasty pitch by Boggs. 1, 2, 3 go down the Pirates, and the boos raining down on them here at PNC.
Pat Paris, Cal Eldred are back in studio. They will enter the Cal zone as Cal breaks down Lance Lynn's night. We will get Mike Matheny's post-game thoughts, and somebody is getting a hungo. All that and more coming up after the game. For now, we send it back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
All right, Jim, thanks. Boy, Jim looks good tonight. Sharp as he's looked in a long time. Here's Komatsu to start the 9th inning. Eric is 0 for 3, filling in for Schumacher. And he lines it into center field. That'll be caught. So 2 lineouts for Komatsu. Getting a chance to show what he can do as a Rule 5 guy. And this big pitcher, the 6'7" right-hander, passed up twice in the Rule 5. But Komatsu was dealing with a foot injury this offseason. He actually had a broken bone in his foot. And at the time, doctors thought he was going to have surgery. He said, no way. He said, if I have surgery at this point in my career, I'm buried. He said, I'm taking my chances. So he's been good enough to play and healthy enough.
You know, Dan, I know everyone really likes Komatsu, spring training and everything, but it's very difficult to keep a Rule 5 guy on your roster the entire year if you're trying to win. And I think at some point, you know, he's a wonderful young man. He can play all 3 outfield positions, got a little line drive stroke. He might have to get caught up in a numbers game at some point this season too.
And you have to start thinking about, you know, long-term future with Komatsu and Green and the upside of these players. That is ripped out to deep right. That is gone. It's a home run for Descalso. Boy, did he turn on that pitch. A solo home run for Daniel Descalso, his first this season. And the Cardinals have a 2-run lead. A little cushion for Mott, who's getting loose in the pen.
Daniel hit 1 last season. He's got 1 now, and that won't be his last one. But that's a big one. Big insurance run, pushing it to a 3-1 lead. Let's look him jump on this one. So Nissan drive of the game. You see, he got that ball right out in front, able to pull it right over the Clemente wall.
Here's Shane Robinson, slowly hit to the right side. Little bobble hesitation, and with that, very well could be the 4th error. It is 4th error charge to Pittsburgh tonight. That one on Walker, and you know, Neil Walker is a guy, Al, that had just 6 errors last year, and he was 2nd in total chances among second basemen. So he's pretty sure-handed here.
Yep. Was sure-handed, caught the bobble bare-handed, but then he rushed the throw and threw it away. His 2nd error of the year.
And here is Rafael Furcal.
He may not have known the speed of Shane Robinson, and it might have surprised him too. As he looked up, see him scatting down the line.
And Mike Matheny can have a little fun with this combination. The speed of Robinson at first base, and a guy that puts the ball in play could slap it the other way, and Rafael Furcal get the cushion, Al, of a 2-run lead. And we've seen where Mike really likes to press it a little bit. Start runners, steal bases, put pressure on the D. That slap the other way. It is fair. Down into the corner. Robinson on his way to 3rd. He will score. Delivering here in the 9th, Rafael Furcal. More insurance for St. Louis.
It's Ralphie's 7th RBI of the season. Slap hitter just goes down to the left field corner. He knows he's got an extra base, and Robinson can really fly. He's got a good look at this. He can just round the bases.
Fun to watch speed, isn't it?
Oh, never get tired of it.
I used to love, even at the end of his career, watching Willie McGee put one in the gap and let him go fly around the bases. Kerry Robinson, his great speed comes to mind. He was fun to watch run.
How about when you looked at Willie and how he would round bases and leaning? I mean, It's almost like, how did he stay upright?
So another good number to think about at home. The players under 30. How about this? Most RBIs for the players that are under 30. And the Cardinals with 52 of those. You think about rebuilding teams, and the Cardinals aren't that. They're the world champs.
World champions, but young players that went through that experience, they grew up real quick.
Now Carpenter. The reason that the Pirates can go with this righty for third inning of work is that he was working in spring training as a starter. The thought was that he'd be possibly in the minor leagues or long relievers. So here we go. And if you're Mike Matheny, now you have to think ahead. 3-run lead. If you get another run, save situation out, do you stay with a Mitchell Boggs, or do you, once you get your big right-hander, your closer, Mott, up, do you stay with him?
One thing you have to consider is when was the last time he pitched, and that was on the 17th, talking about Mott. I mean, you don't like your closers to go much more than 3 days without working. So kind of get the idea that if it becomes a non-save situation, and remember, Robinson hit for Boggs, so maybe it's Zepchinski would come in and get the 9th inning if it's a non-save situation.
3-1 the count on Matt Carpenter for Kyle, the runner at second base. High fly ball into left center. McCutchen with room makes the catch. Kyle will tag up from second to third. Brings in Holiday. You know that Matt is probably itching to get at least one more at bat. It's been a frustrating night for him. He's grounded into a double play, reached on an error, hit into a fielder's choice that he wound up beating out, and it proved to be a big play that was midway in this game in the 5th, and has an infield single back in the 8th.
It's just a matter of time. Matt, who had a great spring, this time a year ago was batting over 400. He had too many hits in spring training. He did something that's really hard to do, and that's have a 13-game hitting streak to start spring training. A lot of times you're only getting one at bat.
Taken low, 2 balls, no strikes.
He was a Triple Crown winner for the Cardinals in spring training. But then on opening night, I think he was rung up on a couple pitches that seemed to be clearly out of the strike zone, and they got him on this spiral downward.
Pitch was up. Foul back, 2 balls and 1 strike. Holiday this season at 206, last year at 441.
Look at the RBIs, though.
How much extra pressure has he put on himself this season, knowing that without a doubt he's the main guy in this lineup?
I think it's good pressure. I think he stepped up and wanted to assume more of a leadership role, and that's good. You know, you were hopeful with that. It's the same thing like Beltran. He doesn't feel like he has to carry all the load. All they have to do is just everybody do a little bit more.
The 3-1 pitch. Holiday bounces it to second. Walker is there. The Cardinals add to their lead. They pick up 2 here in the top of the 9th. Redbirds on top. It's 4-1. Baseball on your home of the Redbirds, Fox Sports Midwest. We weren't sure how this would start. Schumacher hurt, left the game. Yachty, we've seen that a million times. His defense. Cardinals have turned a couple of double plays. Lance Lynn, well, he was Lance Lynn. Another solid outing. Cardinals have just moments ago added 2 runs, and they lead it by the score of 4-1. And the Redbirds closer, right-hander Jason Mott, is into the ballgame.
Jason picked up his first win of the year after pitching the 10th on Tuesday. That included a couple strikeouts and the inning caught stealing. But here's one of those young guys we talked about that really matured late in the season and was well tested. Sets a Cardinals franchise record for the most appearances in a postseason with 12. He tied Dotel and Sepchinski. And he had 5 saves in postseason, 5 for 5.
Here's Casey McGee, the former Brewer. Al, when you were closing, how many pitches did it normally take for you to get loose?
It's interesting. The mindset of a closer is when you're sitting down there in the bullpen, it's kind of like you, as the innings go along, you kind of prepare yourself that, okay, I'm going to pitch. A lot of times we would come in as early as the 7th inning. So in the 7th inning, you start getting ready. But you would sit there and think that I could walk from the mound and pitch. 1, it's never going to happen. 2, you'd have 8 warm-up tosses, but even if you knew that was the case, you were coming up cold, you still could get 4 or 5 pitches in the bullpen. So it's just more of a mindset.
Buster Olney of ESPN recently reported that Mott told him it takes 4 pitches to get loose, and I asked Jason about that. I said, is that on the plane last night? I said, 4 pitches, that's it? You're ready to go? He said, well, not exactly. He said, what I was recalling and telling a story about was the infamous Lance Lynn game in which in the World Series, I only had time enough to throw 4 pitches when the wrong pitching move was made.
But see, what he's talking about is you got 4 pitches in the bullpen,
right.
Then you have the 8 pitches out there. But it's also, you're in the World Series, you're jacked up so high, pumped up, you don't need very many.
And his point was, he said, Buster did a good job reporting. He said he's right. He said, because really, the reality is, and exactly what you said, it takes me about 4 or 5 pitches in the bullpen. But he said, once you get out there, you have the 8.
And you have your adrenaline and you have
exactly.
everything going for you.
Looked to be a pretty good pitch taken by McGee, and count runs full. Let's get a look here. A little low.
Right there at the bottom, we've had very few complaints with tonight's strike zone.
Same pitch, called a ball.
Well, that's a big difference, though. Walking the leadoff man, you'd think he had the extra 2 insurance runs at the top of the inning.
So leadoff walk, back to the leadoff man, top of the lineup, and Alex Presley. You were talking too about Bob Gibson and Tim McCarver being on the same page with pitches and one knowing the other. I was asking Jason, I said, being a former catcher and now you're on the mound, does that give you a better sense of what you want to call? And he said the scouting reports are such that for the most part you know what you want to call, but he said Yachty will give me a suggestion.
And that's what it is.
Yep. He said, I don't necessarily have to go with that suggestion because it's my pitch. And as you love to say, it's my win or loss or say behind my name.
Exactly right.
So Jason many times will stick with what he wants to do. And majority of times that's an overpowering fastball.
But he has done something that's so difficult to do last year. He learned at the major league level, pitching short relief, how to add a couple secondary pitches. That's hard to do.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Presley. Fly ball out to center. One away as Komatsu makes the catch. McGee back to first. Let's take a look at our Budweiser player of the game, and the pitching has been, again, bright spot for this team. And Lance Lynn is our Budweiser player of the game. 7 innings, 4 hits. Run he gave up was the first batter that he saw inside the park home run.
And remember, there was another base hit in the first inning, so he only scattered 2 more the rest of the game. He walked only 1. That was in his 7th inning, final inning of work. So a great job by Lance Lynn.
This year it's been talked about where velocity across the board in baseball. Many scouts, I was talking to one before the game, they say everywhere they've been, Al, it's been down, but watching Mott tonight, I don't think you can make that case with him. Mid-90s.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Jason's was down a little bit from where it will be in a month from now. Those power pitchers, just seems like it takes them a little longer to stretch out that velocity unless your name's Verlander. How about him the other night? The last batter he faced in a complete game, he threw 3 fastballs and a slider. The 3 fastballs were 100 miles an hour each.
It's amazing.
And threw 131 pitches. 120 and 130 pitches used to be, probably was the norm for a starting pitcher. Now it's just like ridiculously, oh, you're trying to hurt somebody.
Here's a ground ball deep in the hole for Kyle, and out at second. Looked like even he had a little trouble getting that out of the glove, but they're able to get Casey McGee. There's 2 away.
Way deep in the hole, you see how he has to go. Then he has to get set. Look like his foot slipped a little bit. Try and get that lead man. So important, and he does so.
Andrew McCutchen. Tying run at the on-deck circle in Walker. If McCutchen can extend the ball game, he's 0 for 3 tonight. Hard hit ball last time up as he lined out to Holiday. The play behind the runner at first, and the first pitch is a strike.
You say that runner at first doesn't mean anything. Well, of course it does. But with a 4-1 lead, you'd rather get everyone in better defensive position.
0-2. 98 on that pitch, in on the hands of McCutchen.
Ouch. Why they don't take second base, I don't know. Nobody holding the runner on. Tabata. Sometimes by not stealing that base or taking that base would be fielder's indifference, but there's a force out there. Like that last play, would Ralphie been able to throw out the batter? That ball deep in the hole? Probably not. But he got a force out because there's man at second. Fastball up.
Fly ball popped up. Right side. Long way to go. Carpenter Beltran, and it's out of play.
Bounced in the seats first. Now and Craig, similar play in Houston. And his kneecap into that secondary wall, and of course he was out for quite a while, but then we found out he's playing in the World Series. Remember, he had 3 home runs with a fractured kneecap. At its extended spring now, and probably in the next few days he will go on his rehab, and you can start the clock then on his 20 days max.
Doesn't chase. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Sometimes just showing that slider. Good hitters will say, okay, you haven't convinced me you can throw it for a strike, but we've seen him do that, and he was going to ask for it again.
The 1-2. Tapped foul.
We had him way off balance, reaching out.
Redbirds trying to go to 10-4, which at the time right now would match Washington at 10-4 in the National League East, and
they won tonight.
The Dodgers are 10-3, so Washington now 11-4.
How about another shutout for their pitching staff? Knew they were much improved, but they're maybe surprising a lot of people that out there. Now the 3rd slider in a row. Kind of backed up, stayed up a little bit, but still he couldn't center it. This guy throws 98 and he's throwing me 3 consecutive sliders. Where they do 4, we do a fastball, it'd be a fastball away.
1-2 pitch, spoiled by McCutcheon.
97 down and away, just almost throwed the bat at it. How about the final pitch, Dan?
I'd like to see that right here.
Fastball up, trying to go up the ladder on him.
1-2 again. They do go up the ladder. He stays away 2-2.
It's too high. You can't tempt him on that one. See those sliders, which are supposed to be down and away, the fastball down and away. You change that eye angle and try to go up. And now they're just down and away again.
Ground ball to short. This should do it for Kyle to second, and the Cardinals take game 1 of the series. They pick up already, Al, their 10th win of this 2012 year.
It's really nice the way they're doing it, just going about their business the right way. Guys are having fun, but they're playing this game the right way.
So the Cardinals hold on as Lance Lynn picks up the victory. They picked up insurance in the 9th. They hold on 4-1. Lynn 3-0. Mott save number 3. Don't go away. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, the postgame show. It's next.